Hello, it is I. Uh, Sir Short Circuit. No, Short Sir Kurt. That just rolls right off the tongue, which is, yeah. I mean, that's the name I'm going with, but it does not roll off the tongue very easily, which is lovely. But, hey, you cannot win them all. So, I'm going to try to do something I've never done before, which is read out loud, but in front of a camera. I have read out loud before. I did go to school for a while. But, yeah, I thought I'd give this a try, see if people enjoyed it. I do have a dog as well that I can show off. You might have heard her drinking some water. Chula, what you doing? This is the mighty Chula. She's very happy. Are you happy, Chula? Don't throw up on me. It's okay. What are you doing? What are you doing? You excited? Why are you so excited? Why are you so excited, Chula? What are you doing? What are you doing? You're crazy. You're not even... Nobody can even see you. Anyways, put you down. And so I'm going to read a book. Now, I'm not quite sure on all the copyright laws. I mean, I am, and I could have looked into it more. And I'm pretty sure that this is not going to work unless I'm transformative with it. So, the plan on that is I'm going to have to make this somehow my own and take it from what it originally is and transform it into something different. So, if you all know my kind of general style of things and how nonsensical that is, I chose So Long and Thanks for the Fish, or Thanks for All the Fish. My reading comprehension is also not very good. So, this is the fourth book in the Hitchhiker trilogy from Douglas Adams. And I thought, what more fitting thing to do than take a really weird, quirky book and start on the fourth one in the trilogy. It just seems pretty much right up my alley. So, now to read out loud and make it entertaining. And do that on camera for the first time ever. I'm going to do my best here. I'm also going to hope that I actually press record. And I'm also going to try to do this all in one take, because I figured that might be easier than learning how to edit videos. So it's worth a shot. And, yeah. Let's give it a go here. Start with the prologue, because that usually is where you start. So, here we go. Far out in the uncharted backwaters of the unfashionable end of the western spiral arm of the galaxy lies a small, unguarded yellow sun. Orbiting at a distance of roughly 92 million miles is an utterly insignificant little blue-green planet, whose ape descendants' life forms are so amazingly primitive that they may still think digital watches are pretty neat ideas. Now, this planet has, or had, a problem. You see, what happened was, there was a website, and they got really greedy. And on this website, they decided that, screw people, let's just make things, let's make things, a little worse for them so that we can make some money. And so everybody kind of just bailed on that. They just said, I've had enough of that. So, I'm just reading from the book here. So, everybody bailed. They went, to another digital space and made a whole lot of new friends. And so that problem was solved, but there were still more problems. Including which was the most of the people living on it were unhappy pretty much all the time. I can relate to that one. Not always. You guys all make me pretty happy. So, many solutions were suggested for this problem, but most of them were largely concerned with the movements of small green pieces of paper, which is odd because on the whole it wasn't the whole green pieces of paper which were unhappy. And so the problem remained. Lots of people were mean. Most of them were unhappy, even the ones with digital watches. And I will show you guys my watch collection sometime. Some of them are digital. Most of them don't have batteries. I'll still show them to you. Many were increasingly of the opinion that they'd made a big mistake in coming down from the trees in the first place. And some said that even the trees had been a bad move and that no one should have left the oceans. And then one Thursday, nearly 2,000 years after one man had been nailed to a tree for saying how great it would have been to be nice to people for a change. Fancy that. A girl sitting in her own small cafe in Rickmansworth suddenly realized that it had been going wrong the whole time, and she finally knew what could make a good start and a happy place. The time was right, and it would work, and no one would have to get nailed to anything. And I think we all found that in our own little ways too. Sadly, however, before they could get to a phone to tell anybody about it, the Earth was unexpectedly demolished to make way for a new hyperspace bypass. So the idea was lost, seemingly forever. And this is her story. So that was the prologue. I realized I probably should have grabbed something to drink. Because my mouth is really dry. So I need to figure something out here really quick so that I can entertain you without being here for all of 3.5 seconds. And I don't need to remember what place I'm at because I just finished the prologue. So, if I get a stack of books, and it is a good stack, I'm gonna do a pose for a second. There we go. Had to get that out of the way. I will just dump some of my mess out of the way. Let's see here. I think I need a bigger boat. Let's add some more books. Oh, you stay. How does that look? There you go. Hopefully that's visible. I'm going to go grab myself something to drink. Now I have no idea what time it is. I know it's after 9 o'clock, but why not enjoy coffee? For good luck. It's probably not great for you. It's probably not bad for you. But it does make me feel like a giant. A little Vanna White here. I probably should have grabbed two. Alright, let's see if we can get a page or two into chapter 1. Also, I think I got trolled. I think this is the whole book. Or at least the start of it. I don't think it is the fourth and the third. The fourth out of 3 books. So, sounds like something I'd enjoy doing to somebody else. So, I can live with that. So, it says chapter 1. That evening it was dark very early, which was normal for that time of year. It was cold and windy, which was normal. It started to rain, which was particularly normal. A spacecraft landed, which was not. There was nobody around to see it except for some of the spectacularly stupid quadrupeds. who hadn't the faintest idea what to make of it, or whether they were meant to make anything of it, or eat it, or what. So they did what they did to everything, that was to run away from it and to try to hide under each other, which never worked. It slipped down from the clouds, seemingly balanced on a single beam of light. From a distance, it would scarcely have noticed it through the lightning and the storm clouds, but seen from close, it was strangely beautiful. A great craft of elegant and sculpted form, quite small. Of course, there was always one alien, and that would be me. But anyways, no one ever has the slightest notion of what size or shape or different species are going to turn out to be. But if you were to take all the findings of the latest mid-galactic census report as any kind of accurate guide to statistical averages, you would probably have guessed that the craft would hold about 6 people. And you would have been right. And I would have to agree. Now wearing, this shirt here, which I don't know if you got the glory of it, but I hope you do. It is one hell of a shirt. See, now I swore. I said the H word. And now I just put myself in a spot. Because now I might have to edit. But I'm trying not to do any spoilers because I'm not reading the whole book. And I'm not talking about Titanic. And I'm not going to tell you what happens at the end of Titanic. Because no spoilers. But I don't have to edit around spoilers. Which is... that's the thing. So is it transformative if you just lose your spot in the book and mispronounce half the words and stumble upon it? That might help me. You probably would have guessed that anyways. The census report, as most surveys, had cost an awful lot of money and didn't tell anybody anything they didn't already know. Except that every single person in the galaxy had 2.4 legs, owned a hyena. Okay. Since this was clearly not a true of the whole thing, had eventually had to be scrapped. The craft slid quietly down through the rain. Its dim operating lights wrapped it in tasteful rainbows. It hummed very quietly, a hum which gradually became louder and deeper as it approached the ground, which, at an altitude of 6 inches, became a heavy throb. I'm not going to go on that one. At last it dropped and it was quiet. A hatchway opened. A short flight of steps unfolded itself. A light appeared in the opening. A bright light streamed out of the wet night, and shadows moved within. A tall figure appeared in the light, looked around, flinched, and scurried down the steps, carrying a large shopping bag under its arm. It turned and gave a single abrupt wave back to the ship. Already the rain was streaming through its hair. "Thank you," he called out. "Thank you very..." He was interrupted by a sharp crack of thunder. He glanced up apprehensively, and in a response to a sudden thought, quickly started to rummage through his large plastic shopping bag, which he discovered had a hole at the bottom. And I'm not going there either. There's only so many places. Yep, not going there. You guys can have fun on the beep boops and figure that one out yourself. So, something about a hole in the bottom. It had a large characters printed on the side which read, "To anyone who could decipher the Centurion alphabet," which I'm glad I can pronounce. Alpha Centauri. Wait, no, sorry. Skipped ahead there. Got a little ahead of myself. A little trigger happy. It said, "Duty-free mega market, Port Brasta, Alpha Centauri. Be like the 22nd elephant with heated value in space. Bark." I can get behind that. "Hold on," the figure called, waving at the ship. The steps, which had started to fold themselves back up through the hatchway, stopped, re-unfolded, and allowed him back in. Also, I normally talk with my hands a lot. which I haven't been doing, which is probably why I'm kind of sounding like a little bit of a weirdo, because what do you do with your hands? But I think I might just one hand this, and one hand my own hand, and then you put them together and it's like the pineapple and the pen apple. It's a good video. Anyways, it allowed him back in. So he emerged again a few seconds later carrying a battered and threadbare towel, which he shoved into the bag. Also, by the way, I can read really, really fast out loud. Sometimes. I'll give it a go. I'll read one little paragraph here. He waved again, hoisted the bag under his arm, and started to run through the shelter. No. See? He waved again, hoisted the bag under his arm, and started to run for the shelter as some trees behind him. The spacecraft had already begun to ascend. Yeah, no, I don't got it tonight. But I think you might have gotten the gist of that. So, lightning had fitted through the sky and made the figure pause for a second, and then hurry onwards, revising his path to give the trees a wide berth. He moved swiftly across the ground, slipping here and there, hunching himself up against the rain, which was falling with an ever-increasing concentration, as if being pulled from the sky. His feet sloshed through the mud. Thunder grumbled over the hills. He pointlessly wiped the rain off his face and stumbled on. Now, talking about mud, I love boots. I own a lot of boots. I'm not wearing any boots right now, but I wish I was. And then I would show you guys, because I got quite a few boots. And I'm Canadian, so there's the whole boot scootin' boogie thing going too, which I don't understand. I don't know what it means. I don't think anybody does. I mean, it's provocative. But yeah, boots. Boots. I think I might have a Canadian accent when it comes to talking about boots. Anyways, back to the story here. Okay, these ones are real dirty. What in the Lord? What happened? Did I drop these in chili? Oh my Lord. I gotta... What the heck? Oh my God. I mean... Like... I don't even know how it's even possible to get glasses that dirty. Like, that's just... Maybe I can just make little peepholes. Not like that. Like a periscope, but straight on. Like it's called a telescope in that sense. But without any extra, zoomage. Alright. Oh, I can see clearly now. The rain is not gone yet. So, more lights. Not lightning this time, but more focused and dimmer lights, which played slowly across the horizon and faded. The figure paused again on seeing them and then redoubled his steps, making directly towards the point on the horizon which they had appeared. Now the ground had become even steeper, sloping upwards, and another 200 or 300 yards, it had led to an obstacle. The figure paused to examine the barrier, then dropped the bag he was carrying over it before climbing over himself. Hardly had the figure touched the ground on the page turn other side. I bet you guys knew where that one was going. When there came a sweeping out of the rain towards him as a machine. And I don't know if I said that one right. Light streaming through the wall of water, the figure pressed back as the machine streaked towards him. It was low, bulbous shape, like a small whale surfing. Sleek and gray and rounded, and moving at a terrifying speed. Now, folks, I'm going to be selling my motorcycle here in a few days, probably. Which, it happens. And it's a fast bike. It's only a 500cc, but if anybody knows about bikes, and that's fun still. I mean, It's so tempting to take it for one last ride, but I don't have the proper paperwork. And life just kind of has a way of biting you in the ass when you take too many liberties. Sometimes you just gotta take a knee, you know? So, yeah, these nice and clear. You know? Nice and clear. I can see everything. So the other side came, okay, well, yeah, no, wait. Terrifying speed. Motorcycles. Not in the book. In my life. The figure instinctively threw up its hands to protect itself. But it was hit by a sluice of water as the machine swept past and off into the night. It was illuminated briefly by another flicker of lightning across the sky, which allowed for the soaked figure by the roadside a split second to read a small sign on the back of the machine before it disappeared. A little bit of lag on the hands there. To the figure's apparent incredulous astonishment, the sign read, "My other car is also a Porsche." So, that was chapter 1. And I kind of want to do another page or two. I really wish that this was live streamed. I'm going to see if I can live stream doing this. Because I can just picture me going, yeah, what they said in the comments. And I could, you know, I could agree with people and disagree. And I could answer questions. Or just pretend that I don't know what they're talking about. Which, you know, would be kind of fun. I mean, you don't always have to answer every question. Sometimes a little mystery creates a lot of fun. Hair. Am I right? I mean, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. And I don't know what to do with it. Then I bought conditioner today, and I was like, do I even have enough life left of hair? Because it's a little, you know, on the top, you know, it's getting there. I was like, do I have another bottle of conditioner worth of life left? Or, you know, am I just going to end up only using half the bottle? I don't know. I don't think you can condition if you shave your head. I mean, I would think you just shampoo. Yeah, you probably don't need to be adding oils and stuff. That would be weird. Body makes all that on its own. Okay, I'm going to read 1.5 more pages. And then I'm going to call it. You know? Let's see. You know? Get something. Get some! Oh! Okay. Hair. It's everywhere. Rob McKenna. Wait, no. Chapter 2. Getting ahead of myself already here. Rob McKenna was a miserable bastard. And he knew it. Because he'd had a lot of people pointed out to him over the years, and he saw no reason to disagree with them, except for the obvious one, which was that he liked disagreeing with people. Particularly people he disliked, which included, at last count, everybody. Haven't we all met a lot of those kinds of folks in the last while? Ha! Ha! I'm not even wearing suspenders right now. What am I doing? I love suspenders. And if you're a guy, just so you know, they make for hands-free, outdoor, relieving water in the garden. You just put her out in the wind and you can just jazz hands, you know, spirit fingers, spirit phalanges. You can do all that. And as long as you're not facing the wind, which we all kind of know better than to do, I'd hope. Okay? Just let it do its thing. Your pants aren't going nowhere. You don't got to hold them up. You know? You don't got to go ask your buddy to like stand behind you and look away while he holds up your pants so that you can spirit fingers while, you know what I'm saying? Just, and hey, it's comfy around the waist. You don't have that. It's not natural. Belts. I love belts, but they're not natural. So, anyways, back to this bastard. He heaved a sigh and shoved down a gear. The hill was beginning to steepen, and his lorry was heavy with the Danish thermostatic radiator controls. It wasn't that he was naturally predisposed to be so surly, or at least he hoped not. It's just the rain which got him down. Always the rain. For me, wind. Hate wind, as you can tell. It's not even windy, it was a fan. We don't talk with a fan. You know? It's only a fan. We don't talk about only fans. Because that's inappropriate. Oh, I gotta pee so bad. Like inside. I'm not gonna put on suspenders just to go pee. It's tempting though. So, I'm gonna finish this page. I'm gonna power through this. It was raining now, just for a change. It was a particular type of rain that he particularly disliked, particularly when he was driving. He had a number for it. It was rain type 17. He had read somewhere that the Eskimos had over 200 different words for snow, without which their conversation would probably have got very monotonous. So they would distinguish between thin snow and thick snow, light snow and heavy snow, sludgy snow, brittle snow, snow that came in flurries, snow that came in drifts, snow that came in on the bottom of your neighbor's boots, all over your nice clean igloo floor, the snows of winter, the snows of spring, the snows. This is like the shrimp thing. And I love me some, I'm sorry, Jenny. I love me some Forrest Gump. I have stories I can't tell about promising to stop the Forrest Gump accent that aren't appropriate to tell. Just saying. Okay, so all the snows, all the shrimps. The snow that you remember from your childhood that was so much better than any of your modern snow. Fine snow, feathery snow, hill snow, valley snow, snow that falls in the morning, snow that falls at night, snow that falls all of a sudden just when you were going out fishing, snow that despite all your efforts to train them, the Huskies have pissed on. Or, I mean, where are they going to piss? There's snow everywhere if it's snowing. You don't want them to piss where there's not snow, because that's probably like inside. I don't know. Rob McKenna had 231 different types of rain entered into his little book, and he didn't like any of them. He shifted down another gear, and the lorry heaved its revs up. It grumbled in a comfortable sort of way about all the Danish thermostatic radiator controls it was carrying. Since he had left Denmark the previous afternoon, he had been going through types 33, light prickling drizzle which made the roads slippery, 39, heavy spotting, 47 to 51, vertical light drizzle. I'm going to finish this little snow thing here. Through sharply slanting to moderate drizzle, freshening, 87 and 88, two finely distinguished varieties of vertical torrential downpour, 100, post-downpour squalling, cold. All the seasonal types between 192 and 213 at once, 123, 124, 126, 127, mild syncopated, cab drumming, 11, breezy droplets, and now his least favorite of all, 17. Now look at that. There's not much left. Let's just give her. Oh, I gotta pee. Rain 17 was a dirty bladder battering against his windscreen. So hard, it didn't take much odds whether he had his wipers on or off. I misread that. He tested his theory by turning them off briefly, but as it turned out, the visibility didn't get quite a lot worse. It just failed to get better again when he turned them back on. One of the wiper blades began to flap off. Swish, 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 flop, swish, swish, flop, swish, swish, flop, swish, flop, swish, flop, flop, flap, scrape. He pounded his steering wheel. He kicked the door. He thumped his cassette player till it suddenly started playing Barry Manilow. Damn. To each their own. Thumped it again till it stopped. To each their own again. And swore and swore and swore and swore and swore. It was at that very moment that his fury was peaking, and there loomed swimmingly in his headlights, hardly visible through a bladder, a figure by the roadside. And I miss back when you used to be able to pick up hitchhikers. I used to hitchhike around back when I was a teenager. I don't really recommend it anymore, but it was fun back then. I also am very privileged to be just like Sony, but like, I don't know. People didn't really kidnap and kill back in the day, which, I don't know. Maybe I just got lucky. As much as I joke about being a serial killer, I'm too broke for it. I can't afford the gas. I don't have the vehicle. You can't just like not use a shovel. I don't have a shovel, so you can't. It's just not very practical. Just saying. So, oh yeah, somebody popped up on the roadside. A poor, bedraggled figure, strangely attired, wetter than an otter in a washing machine, and hitching. Poor miserable sod, thought Rob McKenna to himself, realizing that there was somebody with a better right to feel hard done by than himself. Must be chilled to the bone. Stupid to be out hitching on a filthy night like this. All you get is cold, wet, and lorries driving through puddles at you. He shook his head grimly, heaved another sigh, gave the wheel a turn, and hit a large sheet of water square on. You see what I mean? He thought to himself as he plowed swiftly through it, you know. You get some right bastards on the road. Splattered in his rear mirror a couple of seconds later was the reflection of the hitchhiker, drenched by the roadside. For a moment he felt good about this. A moment or two later he felt bad about feeling good about it. Again, there's some people out there. Then he felt good about feeling bad about feeling good about it. And satisfied, drove on into the night. He's a complicated dude. At least he made it for having finally overtaken that Porsche that had been diligently blocking for the last 20 miles. As he drove on, like, skills. The rain clouds dragged down the sky after him. For, although he did not know it, Rob McKenna was a rain god. All he knew was that his working days were miserable, and he had a succession of lousy holidays. All the clouds knew, was that they loved him and wanted to be near him, to cherish him, to water him. And that's what we need these days, because it's a drought where I am, and the river's like low, and then I'm conflicted. Do I go fishing? Am I like saving them from low water life? I don't know what that's like. It's really smoky where I am, so the sky's really low. So if I was walking down and somebody dangled a steak in front of my face and the aliens took me, I don't know. It'd be an experience. I know that much. But, it's It's so bright. So bright, like light just directly in my eyes. So, that's it, folks. Let's see. I'm going to call it at that. You guys let me know what you think. If you want to hear some more. I've never done this before. This is going out in one take. I didn't spoil the Titanic, so you can go watch it. And, you know, it'll be pretty easy to figure out where I left off in the book because, you know, we read 2 chapters. It's pretty simple. So yeah, I don't know. You guys let me know. And enjoy yourselves. Fancy nightness.